Hey guys, the Comics Kid 2099 here, and I am here to talk about The X-Files Season 2. A little while back I reviewed Season 1 of the series, didn't have a lot of good things to say about it. Basically, I came away from Season 1 thinking that it's just a fluke that series got renewed, and it took them a really long time to try and find their footing and try and find something that worked for them. And Season 2, I think, is better than Season 1, but it's still not quite there yet. It still hasn't quite found what made it this iconic thing of the 90s, the thing that kind of summed up the 90s, and everyone and their mom was just hugely into the X-Files. I don't think that it's quite found that yet, but it's closer now than it was in Season 1. And one thing that a lot of people probably already know, I was probably the last person on the planet to find this out, but the actress who plays Dana Scully, Gillian Anderson, she was pregnant right around the tail end of Season 1 and the beginning of Season 2. And so what they did, they closed down the X-Files at the beginning of Season 1. And so then the beginning of Season 2, it takes like 5 or so episodes for the X-Files to be reinstated, which that was something that really surprised me. I kind of thought that it was going to be in the first 10 or 15 minutes of Season 2 that they were going to reopen the X-Files. It actually took them a little bit of time to reopen it. But the character of Dana Scully, instead of working with Mulder, she's over on the side teaching autopsy and stuff like that. She's a medical doctor as well as an FBI agent, so she's teaching that stuff at the academy. And so that's a good way of getting rid of her while she's pregnant, but still keeping her on the fringe of the series. And so for the first fourth or so of this season, it's basically just Mulder on his own. And then the character of Scully gets kidnapped, and that's still not really explained what was going on with her kidnapping. Why she was kidnapped, who kidnapped her. Was it the American government who kidnapped her? Was it aliens by themselves who kidnapped her? I don't know. Maybe that will be explained later on in the series. Maybe it won't. I kind of have a feeling that it won't. Like a lot of stuff in this series, I have a feeling it's going to be set up and then it's not going to be paid off. But Scully is kidnapped, and so Mulder has a new partner named Krycek. And it turns out Krycek is working for them. He is working with the bad guys, the cigarette-smoking man, and Krycek is possibly my favorite character in this entire series, at least while he's working with Mulder, because we see that he is working with the bad guys, but he also seems to have his own agenda, his own motivations, and that was something that I wanted to see explored more, but unfortunately, as soon as Gillian Anderson gave birth to her baby, they were ready to put her and Mulder back together, and so they revealed that Krycek is working with the bad guys, and then he's gone for about 3/4 of this season. And I really wanted to see more of Krycek in this series. I wanted to see more of this guy who has his own motivations. He's not 100% bad, even though he is working with the bad guys and he is completely opposed to what Mulder and Scully are doing. I really would have liked to have seen more of an explanation and exploration of that character, and we don't really get that. But he was probably one of the high points of this season for me. In fact, I would say the first not quite the first half, but the first fourth or so of this season was probably the high point for me. And then, after Gillian Anderson gave birth to her baby, and after the X-Files are reopened, basically everything is back to the way they were in Season 1. We have a few better episodes here than we had in Season 1. I think Season 1 had a lot of really bad, really forgettable episodes. There are some episodes here that are better, but then there's also some episodes that are just complete stinkers. And I think, again, it's going to take a while for this series to really get to that point where it's really good and not just stringing people along and making them think that it's good. But I don't have a heck of a lot more to say here. Basically, it's a lot like Season 1, just a little bit better. It's still stringing people along. It's still making people think that there is this big, huge, grand story that's being slowly revealed to them, and I still think that's not going to play out the way that the series is making you think that it is. So if you're like me and you're watching this series now and you've never seen it before, I have a feeling that all of that stuff is not going to play out the way that audiences probably thought that they were in the early to mid-90s. I have a feeling that it's all going to be building up to something and then the payoff is just not going to be there. But I would very much love to be taken by surprise. So basically, that's a very quick video here. I didn't have a heck of a lot to say about this, just that it's better than Season 1, and I really liked that Season 2 kind of went in a direction that I didn't expect it to go, at least at first. And I hate to say it, but I really wish that Gillian Anderson was pregnant more often. I wish that she was that because it seems to me that stuff, all the interesting stuff in this series came because she was pregnant and they had to write her out of the show. And I like Gillian Anderson and I like the character of Scully, so it's not that I wanted them to just completely write her out of the series. I just feel like the most interesting stuff that we've seen in the series so far came because she was pregnant and because they had to write her out. But I would love to see where this series goes. I have a feeling that it's not going anywhere anytime soon, but we will see. So those are my thoughts on The X-Files Season 2. I forgot to mention this in this video. I mentioned it in my Season 1 review, but if you don't have the DVDs, I only have the DVDs for the first 2 seasons, but it is on Netflix, and that's actually how I'm watching it. I just held up the DVD to show you something. But this series is on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, you can watch the series there. That's how I've been watching it. Whenever I get around to reviewing Season 3, I'm not going to be holding up a DVD since I don't have Season 3. So those are my thoughts on The X-Files Season 2. I hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will be back next week with some other videos, and I'll be back tomorrow with another kind of video. So I will see you guys later. Have a great rest of the day.